This is the salt marsh I wandered to get to school each day. This is Maria's, where I got my sub the nights my mother was working late. We go to the supermarket and we each buy a donut, hot out of the oil. The enormous mixer my mother used is still there. I'm trying to make it easy for my daughter, something my mother never did for me, though she did a lot. Strange, but I have no idea still which house my mother grew up in, and only a vague idea of her hometown, what it was like. Canton is only a few miles from Scituate, maybe half an hour's drive, and even though my mother and I would often drive, especially on the weekend, aimlessly wandering, we never drove to Canton. She never pointed and said, "There, that's the house I grew up in." She rarely, if ever, told me stories of her childhood. It seemed she wanted to get as far away from it as possible, as if we were driving through a dream or away from a nightmare. My daughter never met my mother, though she's seen the photos. When she asks how she died, I tell her she had a bad heart. This is both a lie and not a lie. When I was having a hard time, I told her it was because I missed my mother, that it was near the anniversary of her death, that I was sad she was gone. This, too, was both a lie and not a lie. I was thinking of leaving my wife, or more specifically, I was both thinking and not thinking. This was my chaos. It felt right because I was in control of it. She would have loved to have met you, I tell my daughter, which is true, I guess, but how can I know? The stones on my desk were gathered from the southern edge of Peggotty Beach, where the breakwater meets the sand, where Third Cliff begins to rise from the ocean. Now, when I bring my daughter here, once a year or so, she spends the day carrying stone after stone to our car. She fills our trunk with so many stones that our tires begin to sink into the sand. I sometimes worry we will not be able to leave. I sometimes worry I never have. The day my mother died, she walked down to this very spot. This is the closest water to what was our door, though it seemed the ocean was everywhere. She'd already taken her pills, already begun her note. Unlike Virginia Woolf, she didn't fill her pockets with stones, so I imagine her body simply floating on the surface, like a witch. That she could float would prove it. The story of 1,000,000 years. An affair is a room where two people can close a door and feel known inside of it. In this room they can have the sense not only of being known, but of being utterly desired, which can feel a lot like love, even if it is almost always more complex. David Huddle offers this. When you go into a room with another person and lock the door behind you, you are momentarily free of every principle by which people ordinarily speak and act with each other. How you're going to be, what you're going to say and do, what you think and feel with that person is entirely up to the two of you. You may legislate as you wish. One can feel known inside an affair because it is a shared secret, yet by definition, and this is the inescapable truth, the secret is based on a lie. Otherwise it has another name. Otherwise it is called something else, an arrangement, an understanding, a compromise. It is a lie only the other is allowed access to. If you are willing to share this lie with me, then you will know me in a way others cannot. It does beg the question of whether one really wants to be known at all, or if one is merely seeking to hide. Adrian Rich offers this. The possibilities that exist between two people or among a group of people are a kind of alchemy. They are the most interesting thing in life. The liar is someone who keeps losing sight of these possibilities. Here, then, is a chronicle of seeking, then losing sight of all possibility. The day I took my daughter back to my hometown, the day she gathered those perfectly round stones, I was also coming to the end of an affair. How I was able to convince myself that I felt known within that affair is not a mystery. The woman I had the affair with was curious about me, as I was about her. Empathetic, creative, wild. She listened.